I didn't do that on purpose because nobody told me what it meant. And I've been teaching for like 12 years before I ever figured out what it meant. So in just a few minutes, we're going to figure this out, okay? So what I want to do is I want to look at number one. And I make that point to say this is state data that they are collecting, yet I didn't know what it meant for 12 years of my career, okay? Okay, so look at number one. I'd like for you, don't yell out for me A, B, C, D, E. Yell out for me the category that you think they fit in, okay? Don't tell me male, female, and their race. I want to know what category you think they are, okay? For number one, tell me in 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Oh, I heard a lot of things. Okay, let's see what her answer is. Drum roll, please. Dyslexic. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this for a moment. Now, first of all, I am not a dyslexic specialist, so don't use me as your authority here, but I will say we have an awesome center here on this campus that you should get to know. They would be a wonderful resource for you if you've got a student who has a need. But anyways, so what I see this student in 3rd grade started out okay, but all of a sudden, huge drop in 4th grade. Let's just hypothesize what might have happened. 4th grade. What? Reading material got harder. Therefore, the problem really started to surface. Okay, let's assume that's right. Now, what happened here in 5th grade? Yes, diagnosed and given some type of support that worked. Okay? So support is working and is still working in 6th grade. They've grown in confidence and now they're doing better testing. What happened in 7th grade?
Well, they probably were achieving so well that the support stopped.
Okay, could be. They were achieving so well. How can you keep growing? You know, it's statistically you're probably going to decline. Okay, maybe. Something else.
They went to a middle school from an elementary school.
There was a switch from elementary to middle. You know, that's a huge rocks kids world. What else? Yes.
They saw the scores were so high, so they took away any special treatment they were getting.
Oh, removed. I hope not, but could happen. Yes.
The teacher that they had that year may not have accommodated.
Teacher might not accommodate, or they don't like the teacher. So I'm going to show them. I'm just not going to take the test. Like that affects you when they don't, you know, it kind of does, but really it affects them. There's all kinds of reasons, but here's another possibility. One of the things that helps some students that are dyslexic, it is this clear film, kind of like they used to use for overhead projectors. Y'all have seen those, right? Those sheets of paper? Okay. All right. Well, you can get those that are colored, and there are all kinds of different colors, and for every kid that this helps, it's a different color that might work for one for another. So maybe the blue film works, and they literally just put it on top of their paper, and all of a sudden the words don't swim, they can focus. But what happens is they grow, and their eyes change. Sometimes they need a different overlay, a different color, and so they have to go back in and be reevaluated. And sometimes something as simple as changing the color, and now it works again for them. So that's a little tidbit that I didn't know that was pretty good information. Okay, well let's look at number 2. Give me your answer in 3, 2, 1. All right, I heard some differences. Drum roll, please. T1. Okay, now this is not Tier 1. Okay? I need you to know that. There are T1 students and T2 students, and that has nothing to do with Tier 1 and Tier 2. It has to do with ESL. When students are given direct ESL services, they are pulled out of their English Language Arts class and go to an ESL class. But once they get to a certain level that they are now able to flourish in the regular ELA class, They're moved over, but they're called Tier 1. It's the first year out. And so they may occasionally get pulled back for some things. Maybe they test in a small group with a read aloud. There could be several different accommodations. But for the first year out, they're being watched carefully. And then the second year out, they're watched again. They're Tier 2 students. And then by the third year, their label is gone. So, okay, let's talk about this ESL student. What do we know about this child? What has happened? Hypothesize with me.
Over the span of 2 years, they've had a huge improvements.
Huge improvement. Absolutely. He says over the span of 2 years that's happened. Anything else stand out to you?
That they have the same score as the school for the first 2 years.
Yep, right there with the school, and all of a sudden they are above the school. So the support that they got in ESL, it helped them. They're growing. I want you to notice something that you have skipped, and it's right down here.
There's no fifth grade.
They didn't skip a grade. There's no 2010 data. Why don't we have data for 2010? That's a good answer. That's right. Something happened. So, do we know what that is? No way. You know what they're talking about, getting to know your students? Well, at the beginning of the school year, you pull up this kind of data on kids, and now I want to know what happened in 2010. Where were you? Where were you in 2010? Why did you not have a test score? Okay, you can't bombard this kid with that, right? But what you could do is take this data, come up with a bunch of questions I want to know about individual kids, and then during that first week, in your like get to know you type things, you give out specific bell work questions, and for that kid, his question is, tell me about 5th grade. What was your favorite thing about 5th grade? You know, you may find out that he moved to another state because this is Tennessee data. So if they were in any school in Tennessee, they have data. Or maybe he just didn't take the test that week. Maybe he skipped a whole week of school and, you know, didn't take it. That could happen. Surely his teacher didn't tell him not to. You know, you can't do that, right? Like legally, you can't tell the kids you missed that week. You know, that's wrong. Like there's a kid you know is going to fail.
No,
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Just like, exercise your civil liberties.
You're right.
Do what you like.
All right, let's go to number 3, please. On 3, tell me your answer. 3, 2, 1. Okay, drum roll, please. Oh, there it is. I've never seen anyone so excited about functional selection before. Now, okay, so let's talk about what this is. Actually, I don't really want to get into what this is yet, because in a minute I'm going to tell you the difference in something else, okay? So I'm still going to leave you guessing what is functionally delayed. But when you get this kid right here, what is your first response when you see this data? Oh my gosh, how am I going to teach this kid, right? That's what your first thought. Your first thought should be, yes! Statistically, I can raise this kid. I'm going to get some really good value added scores because of this kid right here, right?
So far to go.
Yeah, I know! All it goes up, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. On 3, 2, 1. Okay, drum roll, please. So, here you have an average kid. A kid who has the potential to score high and the potential to score low, and it has everything to do with the day of the week they take the test. Maybe the day they took the test, their dog died. You know? It happens. We had a time, this one year, where on the day of the test, as the kid was about to leave, the mom pulls the kid aside and tells him, oh, by the way, your dad's going back to prison. So now he gets on the bus and comes to school, and by the time he gets to school, he is crying so loudly that you can hear him like 2 rooms over. On a test day, this is happening. Of course, you know, that's gonna, hopefully you take the test that day, but the point is that they have lives, and their test is not the most important thing in their life, you know? Maybe they don't like the teacher, and so they're like, you know, forget this. I want to take a nap. I'm done. There's so many reasons. I remember one day, this kid comes up to me. It's my day, social studies test day, which is always the 4th day, right? The worst day. They are so sick of taking tests, and now they get to take mine. And this kid comes up to me at the very beginning and says, it's like 5 minutes before the test, he goes, I got this figured out. This is not about me, it's about you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, that's not, this is a very important test for you. You need to go in there and do your best, you know, but I'm sitting there thinking, how did he figure that out? And it's, you know, they do figure this out, that hey, it doesn't matter what I make on this stinking test, I'm still moving up next year. So, you know, I don't feel like taking it. And now we're holding you accountable for their scores, right? Okay, well, let's go to number 5. On 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see it. Again. Woo! Okay, so now back to the functionally delayed question. What is it? I don't know why this is. I'm sure there's a perfectly logical answer, and if you ask someone in the special ed department, they can explain this to you. This is how it was explained to me. Functionally delayed students are SPED students. And because of their classification, their scores are separated from the other SPED students, but they're still SPED students. So when I heard that answer, I was like, okay, well, but who are they? And I was explained by my SPED teacher, she said, I want you to imagine the kid who is completely socially on par with every other kid in their peer group, but academically is like the very lowest. That's your functionally delayed kid. I was like, okay, all right, I can get that. But what you need to understand is they're both SPED. And when you look at this right here, what do you see? Huge drop. You know, there's nowhere to go with that, right? Okay, well, let's look at number 6. I'm pretty sure you got this one right. Let's see it. Gifted. So when you get this kid, what are you thinking? Woo! No, you're thinking, no! What am I going to do with this kid? Statistically, he has nowhere to go but down, okay? He's in the 99 percentile. What am I going to do with that? You know? And I'm not just going to use him to teach everybody else, because that's not raising him up. All right, I want to look at 3 more students that are not on your, but based off what you know, let's see how well you come up with what they are. Okay, who is this kid? Just guess.
Student 1 upside down.
Yeah? And that's what you got in the classroom, you know? They're all over the spectrum. Any guess? And guys, when you're looking at this data for the first time, you don't know. You can't just look at this data. I was able to give you that because I knew those kids. I had their IEPs, and so I can compare and tell you that. But when you look at this, you know something happened when? 5th grade, something happened. Now, if you'll click once, please. This is an ELL student. Okay, so at the beginning of the year when I'm trying to get to know them, and maybe I do that bell work thing, I might say, you know, tell me about 5th grade, or what was the worst year you ever had in school, or maybe I would just pull them aside and just have a conversation and say, you know, I was looking at your TVAAS scores, and I noticed when you were in 4th grade, you did really well, and then in 5th grade, you had a huge drop. Did something happen in 5th grade? You may learn, yeah, my parent was deported, and now I have to live with somebody else that I don't really even know. And that happens. You know, your kids are going to have that happen in your classroom. And you've got to teach them social studies, you know. So this is a great way to get to know the kids. Let's look at another one. Does he look just like any of the others? Looks just like the average student, right? Let's see. I show you this so that you will never put labels on kids and think, oh, you've got that label, so now I know who you are because of that label. No, you don't. SPED kids are all over the spectrum, and some of them can test really well, especially when they're given certain supports, like that thing that we did in the very beginning, where some of them, that support that didn't help you at all, really helped someone else. And when they get that, they can achieve. So don't ever just assume SPED, oh, what can they do? All right, last one. Average, no classification. All right, let's see. It's a student who has an emotional disturbance. And in the 5th grade, spent time in a mental institution and actually went back in the 7th grade. So scores definitely reflect a problem in both 5th and 7th grade because of what he was dealing with in life. So, okay, what do you do with that number when kids walk in your room?
Disregard it.
Completely disregard it? No, don't totally disregard it.
Don't label them.
That's right, don't label them. Take it for what it's worth. It is a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Imagine that your student is a whole puzzle and this gives you one piece of that and you just put it for what it is, that one piece. Gain what you can from it and then the rest, go look for the other pieces. But do not make them have to wear that badge, like the scarlet letter, you know, on them for the rest of the year. All right, I have 5 minutes that I can take any questions that you have. Yes?
How do we measure growth for kids on the high end of achievement percentiles? I've always assumed that the tests at the end of the year are measuring for what you're shooting for that grade period. So, for instance, like, do the TCAP tests have, if you're in 3rd grade, do they have 4th and 5th grade
There
questions?
are some questions on there that are meant to be a level higher.
So how can you fit, because when we talked about this before, they said make it more complicated, but they didn't say give them more or harder content. But when we're talking about 4th and 5th grade for
Right.
a 3rd grader, that sounds to me like more and
Right.
harder content. So how do we?
Okay, so we're all higher level, you know. So let's say I'm a math teacher and I teach algebra, and my kid has got it, like they get algebra. Why not go grab the geometry book and let them start working on some geometry? You know, it's again not more work, it's different work. It's work for that child at the level that they're on. So, you know, where she was talking earlier about I really had to make 4 lesson plans. Even though she's got one prep, she only teaches one subject all day long, the same subject. She's got different levels of students, and so she tries to, you know, change it up for each level.
So, like I know for social studies, it'd be a good idea if you're to give the student more primary source documents.
Right,
Say,
yes,
especially things that would be difficult to read for other students. So they
absolutely.
can get more depth out of the time period. Because I mean, they have them all listed. Well, not all of them, but the recommended
Right.
texts listed for social studies.
And also, there are certain websites you can go to that will give you, like, say, news articles, and it's in the different reading, Lexile, yes. And so you can maybe have the exact same article that they're reading, but you've got several different levels in that room, and they're reading at whatever level they're at. Yes?
So, ever since the EOA class, we've kind of been preaching about value-added scores being very important to us keeping a job. How does that play into if you were a high-achieving teacher, and if you had a low value-added scores, how do you retain a position?
Well, honestly, I knew mine were better than other people, so I felt like I'm a whole, they're gonna get rid of a bunch of other people before they get rid of me. But honestly, it's just a matter of you paying attention, that you're showing that you're using the data, that you're attempting to use it to better yourself, you know?
Where's achievement?
Well, an achievement, it's a balance between TVAAS and achievement, absolutely, you know. But, I mean, even though they expect miracles, they know miracles aren't gonna happen, you know, they're somewhat realistic, but they want you to shoot for the stars. Don't just say, oh, well, my kids can't do it. They're at this level, you know, don't ever say that. They can, if you push them. I don't think I answered your question very well.
Is
Yes.
the idea to give schools that are because of economic reasons or whatever other transient reasons,
Yes.
to give them a way that they can show performance when achievement is not the way to show it?
Absolutely. It's to balance things out, because those higher schools that have more parent support and the parents are making sure they learn it, they're going to achieve. Where the lower schools, where they don't come from a background of achievement, you know, they don't have that support, this is a way they can show growth. Absolutely. All right. We know what's due. So no questions about that. I think we're about ready. My group, you've got something for me. So if y'all make sure I get that before we leave. Everybody else, have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Dillard.
You're welcome. Thanks.
I got speakers.